Hey, this is Amy, top producing Arizona real estate agent and mom of 4, and welcome to today's episode of Real Estate According to Amy, where we like to break the rules, think outside the box, and help moms create 6-figure real estate businesses while they drive the carpool lane. Let's go. The number one question I get all the time is, Amy, how do you do it all? Here's the answer. I don't do it all. But there are some tips to getting more done in less time so that you can run an effective business while also driving carpool, making dinner, and doing all of those things we as moms love to do. So here's my tips for you. Number 1, wake up early. Get up at 5 in the morning and you can get a solid 2 hours of work in before anyone's really up and awake. Like, trust me, your kids will love you if you let them turn on cartoons for 30 minutes while you finish up whatever it is you need to finish up for the day. If I can get 2 hours in before my kids wake up, like, my day runs really, really smooth because all the fires have kind of been put out first thing in the morning. Here is the next thing. Don't do all of the things. Like, don't do all the things. Hire a cleaning lady. Have people do your laundry or do your landscaping, or have a transaction coordinator, hire a VA. If it's $10 an hour work, then you should hire someone to do the work for you because your hourly rate is worth much more than $10 an hour. So in order to do this and build and scale and not do all the things, that means you actually kind of have to know what your hourly rate is. So how do you figure out your hourly rate? You want to run your hourly rate based on your gross product, like what you bring in at the end of the year, and then you want to divide it by 52 weeks a year and by 40 hours a week. Now, if you only work 10 hours a week, well, then you want to multiply that number by 4 to get your hourly rate. So whatever your hourly rate is, say your hourly rate, if you make 6 figures, your hourly rate for 40 hours a week would be $50 an hour. So let's say my first year in real estate, I brought home 6 figures. I only worked 10 hours a week. So that means my hourly rate was suddenly $200 an hour. So if I was doing something that I could pay someone else to do for less than $200 an hour, that makes sense. Buy back your time, right? So don't do all the things. Understand what your hourly rate is and then start outsourcing things that are underneath that hourly rate. Get an VA, a transaction coordinator, all of the things to help run your business. So the next thing is how do you decide what to outsource and what to keep? So there's a really simple exercise. It's called red light, green light. And here's what you do. This means you have to audit your time. You have to know where you're spending your time in order to make it yield higher results for you, right? Everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. Some people are just getting paid much more per hour than other people. So you have to do a time audit. Here's how you do a time audit. First, you keep track of everything you do all day, every single day. So if it's 10 minutes for laundry, if it's 30 minutes making dinner, if it's 30 minutes driving carpool, 2 hours writing contracts or doing paperwork, 2 hours prospecting, whatever it is, write it down. Okay, just make a list. Then you're gonna get a red highlighter and a green highlighter, or a red marker or a green marker, and you're going to go and you're going to put a red dot next to everything you can outsource that someone else can do, right? If I spend an hour doing laundry, that's an expensive load of laundry. It's $200. It costs me $200 to do laundry. Could I reasonably find someone to do laundry for me for less expensive? Yeah, I can. So that one gets a red dot because I can outsource that one. Okay. Now, when you talk about spending an hour filming or prospecting or posting to Instagram, can someone else do that for me? No. That's work I have to do. So that gets a green dot or a green highlight because that one is mine. I have to keep that one. Go through your entire day and see what gets a red light, what gets a green light. Anything that gets a red light, you've got to move to someone else. The next thing you're gonna do is you're going to start batching your work. Batching your work means if you're gonna sit down and create Instagram content, create 4, 5, 6, 10 pieces all at once. Once you're showered and dressed, your makeup's on, your hair's done, change your clothes, batch your content, okay? So if you're sitting down to do paperwork for 4 contracts, not just 1 contract. If you're going to create content, create 10 pieces of content, not just 1 piece of content. I mean, it would be kind of like saying, I'm gonna make cookies, and instead of doing the whole recipe to make 48 cookies, you're gonna do the recipe to just make 1 cookie. Please don't ever do that in your business. That is so inefficient and ineffective and it gives you this stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. You're constantly like pulling out everything to make one cookie. And that's what agents do all the time. All the time they spend an hour making just one cookie when they could take that same hour and they could make 48 cookies. Make 48 cookies all at once. Do that in your work. Batch your content, batch your efforts. So how do you do it all? Here's how I do it all. Wake up at 5 a.m. It's actually amazing how quickly you become a morning person when you like see how much you accomplish in the morning. You're suddenly like, oh, I am a morning person. So wake up at 5 a.m., get a solid 2 hours of work in. In that 2 hours, batch your work, right? You'll move through it quickly. You'll get into a rhythm. So batch your work. You can even do this on days. Some days I have, Tuesdays are when I teach and train. Thursdays is when I produce content. So you know what to expect. The third way is to begin outsourcing. Know your hourly rate so that you can outsource the things that do not drive the needle like you can. You've got to keep the things that only you can do, but everything else, you got to outsource it. That is how you, quote unquote, do it all. Thanks so much for being here. See you next week.